Okay, looks like we're up. Good morning. There's a truck just parked just outside of camera view there. They're picking up something at the hotel. So there's noise from outside. It'll be gone in a second. It's not drizzling, it's cloudy. Rain is forecast for later today. There he goes. Okay, we can put the mic up. There's the outside mic coming. So gray day today. The forecast is for gray and drizzle all this week. We've jumped from winter, late winter, straight to the rainy season, it seems. We've kind of missed our spring. I don't know if it's going to come or not. It's been really cold all spring. Lots of rain, really cold. A few nice days here and there, and then bang, now the forecast is rainy season type weather. So I don't know. Okay, it's going to be carving today. It's going to be tiger carving. But before that, I have a small fix to do. The Ishikawa-san will be upstairs printing today. She's going to be coming probably while we're in the stream today. And she gave me one of the blocks she's working on and asked for a small fix. If Taran-san is here watching this morning, he will know about this. It's just been waiting for me to do it. We have some animal shapes here. This is a cavorting wild boar with two other boars. This is one of the blocks. And we have a waterfall on this print. There's a tree. Actually, these things are sort of identifiable. There's some ground, a tree, and a waterfall. These are okay, but one of the blocks, the block for the wild boar, needs a bit of adjustment. Paper is out. She's coming this morning, so her paper is out. So Ishikawa-san, she's in the middle of her test printing, and she's got some of these little junky sheets. This isn't even the full size of the print. She's working on some tests here. And it turns out that what we need to carve off a little bit of the foot of the wild boar. There's the color for the top of the thing, and we need to carve off the last little bit of his foot. And it won't leave it white, it'll leave it another color. If you look at the nose here, there's an undertone color under the boar. How's that for a comic boar, eh? There's an undertone color, and we've got the undertone running under the whole thing. We want to cut it off for the eyes and the tusks and the nose and the foot. And Taran-san and I weren't sure about this, so we left it. At this point, she says, I'm clear to go, so please cut off the last little part of this foot. So that's what I'm going to do. I've moistened it. I've just got, if you paste down dry paper and try and do this adjustment, it's the wrong size. So I've moistened the paper over the last few minutes here. And we're going to sacrifice. This is not a real print, it's a test print. We're going to sacrifice it. I could probably do this just by eye, but whatever, let's get it right. And don't start to complain about the colors on this. This is a rough test print. Half the colors are not in place yet. She's still playing with it. Too dark, too light, who knows, whatever. Where's my button? This gives us our location. Dave, I'm fine. The back thing, I've got to be careful. My back is okay. It was a muscle, and I've just got to be careful when I bend over and pick stuff up. It's okay. No major tragedy going on here. I was strongly down for one day. Monday was no fun, but whatever. What was really funny that happened a few days later, I was on Monday, I was just staggering around, like a 99-year-old person or whatever, and because I'd stretched that muscle. And Ishikawa-san's laughing at me, Ji-chan, granddad. She's doing this. And I'm whatever. Okay, relax, whatever. Your day is coming. Your time will come one day, And it's happened to her a couple of days later. She was supposed to be here, I forget what it was, Wednesday or Thursday or something. And she sent an email saying, my back is bugging. I can't come. And we're laughing. Okay, that's all I needed, just to notify where that was. So she shows up yesterday, and I'm all like, and she's like, okay, well, I won't be laughing at you anymore. Sorry about that. So, Okay, that's done. Nothing to it. That's done. Oops, off camera. Oh well, that's done. Let's leave. I get to the real work here today. The colors, they're all testing colors. I mean, you can see what's going on here. This is obviously, it's a tint test. What we wanted to do, we first thought we'd test this print by doing it with all grays underneath. This is just one of a number of test prints. One idea was to do it all in gray underneath, different levels of gray. Then another idea came up, well, let's do that, but let's tint the grays a little bit. And that's sort of what she's done here. Part of behind the waterfall here is tinted in green, this is tinted in purple, this is tinted in a little bit of pale red. So we were just testing tints and the way they work together. And actually it's beautiful. The way that the tints work on washi is just really so beautiful. How it's going to work in real life, what colors she's going to decide on, and we're going to decide on, I'm still not quite sure. But you can see how it works. If Taran-san is here watching, you'll realize that we've done a very different thing with the waterfall than he and I were planning first. We were planning to make the back behind this waterfall super dark and bring the waterfall right forward, but it just didn't work. It didn't work at all. It gave a completely wrong impression for the rest of the print. So we've kept all of our tints at the same basic level. There's very little okuyuki in this print, deep back and forward. We've left it back and forward to the design. Anyway, it'll be looking something like this, but not exactly. Okay, let's get some real work done here today. Okay, let's find the spot. Where am I going to be? Hang on a sec. Yeah, it's closer to the original. But the original, remember, the original is like that because it's faded. What it was like when it was first made, I don't know. It would have been a bit bolder and sharper, So that's the problem with reproducing prints that are over 200 years old. We reproduce the faded aspect to them. Okay, we're going to have a good hair day today. A bad hair day. It was off screen. The amputation happened off screen. Sorry about that. Whatever, I was supposed to do it yesterday. She's going to come in a few minutes, and if I don't have it done before she gets here, so it was just a little. Okay. Now, as I said before, these hairs with this tail thing, they were all joined together and mixed together, and it was really quite difficult. So you had to cut the hair without affecting the nearby place. But for most of this tiger, this stuff's going to be in isolation, like this group. Let's do a group right here now. The hairs are all isolated by zones. So it makes it much easier. Let's start here. Whatever. Just grab a batch of them here. Not sure what other news is. I had a note of a couple of things I was supposed to talk about today, but I left it on my desk upstairs, so probably that's not going to get covered. I can't remember what was on it. Nothing dramatic. There were just a couple of things to bring up today. I might remember partway through here. We'll see. Who knows? The last 3 blocks for the print number 9 in this year's series, the ones we did the color separations for on the stream the other day, they are now safely in Kawasaki-san's hands. She called me yesterday. We shipped them to her just after the stream on Thursday. And she called me to check and confirm. And that part we were talking about, I don't know if you remember, if you were watching on Thursday, the bird feathers there needs to be some lines chopped out of the bird feathers, but I wasn't able to draw them onto the sheet. So I chatted with her, and she's like, she has mixed feelings. You know, she would rather not do that, but I'm like, it's okay, just whatever. Cut some lines, make it look nice, you know. And that's not really her personality. She wants it all as exact and laid out and as delineated as possible, you know. So we laughed about it. I said, look, it's okay. If you're not quite sure what to do, just leave it. Just cut the shape of the birds there. Then when it comes back to me, we'll chop something into it, you know. She's a really, really nice girl. Really, I don't know, what's the word? I don't know, reliable, steady, but not adventurous. So the idea of cutting those lines freehand into that block, that's not really what she wants to do. So, and I know that. It's okay. No stress for her. So when we did the one you just saw, the waterfall there, the situation was the same with Taran. He and I looked at it, and we couldn't draw those lines because it's all too small. But he's adventurous enough. Whatever, he chopped the waterfall, you know, and it looks fine. But this print with this tiger, this would not have been a good one to send to her, because a lot of this is vague, and the carver has to make decisions all the way. Is there a hair there? Not a hair. Which way does it go? It's pretty blurred and vague, this one. So you just got to grab it and say, okay, look, that looks good. That's fine. Let's just cut this thing, you know. So you got to be a little bit adventurous. How much of it was left to the carver and how much was in the drawings. There was no single standard thing over the years, you know. Some prints were really quite detailed. The work was really detailed first on the sheet before it went to the carver. There were, of course, many cases like that. And in other cases, a lot of it was just left to the carver. There's a famous letter. One of the museums has this letter from Hokusai. He's written to one of his publishers after, I think it was after one of the versions of the manga was published, or it might have been after one of the versions of the Fugakyake was published. And he'd been unhappy with the way some of the carving had been done. And it's quite interesting. It's a little episode. He writes this letter and he draws some sketches inside this letter to show his publisher. Look, that idiot carver carved a face like this. That's not how my faces work. My faces work like this. And he sketches this into the letter that he's sending to the publisher, you know. And then actually he asked for a recommendation. He said, next time, get Egawa-san. And he's got this carver back then called Egawa Tomekichi, who was, one of the top guns, I guess. And Hokusai said, he can handle it. He can do my faces just fine. And when you're doing something like that, Hokusai manga, whatever, the faces are so small and so tiny that the designers, Hokusai, and the people doing the cleanup after him, they don't draw all the hair one by one by one. It's like this. They've got a blob here, and here, do a face here. And the carver would, carve a Hokusai face there. So the carver's got to know what's going on. It's not just total reproductive work. So I guess both, in the old days there were guys who were capable of doing that, and they would get that work and get it repeatedly. Then there were guys who just weren't capable of adding that level of creativity to it, and they would be the ones who would just be told to do the simpler jobs, the calligraphy or something. We're going to see that today in today's show and tell. We're going to look at a carved book, and hold tight to your socks, because it's just like, you're not going to believe what really they were looking at. Okay, I should check in now and then, right? I should check in. I'm missing half the conversation. We'll grab it later, of course. Looks good. Thanks, guys, for chatting. Well, when I say the easy job in the shop, what I meant was the calligraphy is one that's, for one thing, the master copy was really a master copy. Remember, the master copy, somebody's got a brush and they're drawing letters. There's good calligraphers, bad calligraphers. But what was on the paper, that's what you wanted to carve. So the calligraphy went on the sheet, you paste it on your block like the calligraphy we have here. There's no decisions. You either carve it with taste or you got no taste if you were hired for the job or not, whatever. But there's not a question of, okay, make up a face and put it here, or how many hairs am I going to put in here? The calligraphy is what it is. It's a set thing. So maybe I'm just, as I was spouting off a minute ago, it could be that the carvers with not so much imagination maybe, but good, nice little taste and skill, they would have naturally gravitated to that kind of work. And there were workshops specializing in just calligraphy. There were workshops that specialized in book publishing, the stuff that didn't have pictures. We'll see one such thing in today's show and tell. And then there were other guys that would have specialized or got good at it or got hired. Like we said, like Hokusai was saying, he wanted Tomekichi-san, Egawa Tomekichi. He knows how to do my faces. Make sure you hire him next time, And maybe the publisher's thinking, yeah, right for you to say, but he's double the price of the next guy, That's another funny aspect of this too. People like myself and I guess now Taran-san, who is on here this morning, we've got in our own minds people that we know. Ohayou gozaimasu. Oshiri wa daijoubu desu ka? Okay. いや、私も今ちゃんと始まったんですけど、皆さんお腰はどうですかとか、そう。はい。She has recovered, it seems. What was I blabbing about? Oh, yeah. Egawa Tomekichi. There's just this name. It's a bunch of syllables. Egawa Tomekichi. It means nothing to most people in the world, even most Japanese. If you ask Japanese people, 99.9999999% of them are like, it's just somebody's name, whatever. But there's a half a dozen people on the planet. A dozen people on the planet. Now you're a part of this group. Me, Asuka Sensei, Taran-san, maybe somebody in the British Museum, whatever, a couple of researchers here and there. We've read that letter from Hokusai. We know about this, and we know that there was a guy who was there. This was 1830 or something like this. There was a guy there who was carved over a bench, and he was so good at it, Hokusai said, hire that guy, hire that guy. And his work is there. We've got the books, the 3-book published Hokusai Zano Fugaku Hyakke. The first 2 volumes of it, if I'm remembering correctly, the first 2 volumes of it are carved by Egawa Tomikichi and his workshop, not all by himself. And they're incredible. They're just absolutely incredible. The point I'm trying to make is that, though, that guy's legacy, he was just an average, just a Joe worker in one little workshop in Edo. He lived and worked and died, same as everybody else, lived and worked and died. And what am I stumbling to try and say? There's a dozen or so people on the planet who remember his name. Only a dozen. This is not like Beethoven, where everybody remembers his name. There's a dozen of us or so who remember his name. And among that dozen, there's only a few who can understand why we remember his name. We look at that book and we look at, oh my God, look at that. Now, what kind of legacy is that when 150, 200 years later, a dozen people remember your name? Is this a sad story, or is it that's really cool? We remember his name, some of us, we remember his name with great, great admiration. Oh my God, that guy, he could do it. Yeah, there's not a great quantity of us, only a dozen people, but the quality is really there. We really, really remember his name. And it's in the back of our minds too. Taran-san watching this and myself here, like, if 150 years from now, will our name be remembered in any way the same as that? Will there be people left on the planet who understand why our name might be remembered, In that sense, it's a bit dangerous to show. If there's only 12 people left on the planet who know how good that guy was, that doesn't matter. It doesn't matter at all. So what's happening outside? Construction. Is it bothersome, the mic up there? If it gets noisy, let me know and I can put the sound down on the outside microphone. It only matters you're loved and respected by family and friends. In real life, of course, that's it, of course. I mean, it only matters what's happening right now. None of this legacy stuff is relevant to anything at all, of course. I sort of get that. I understand that intellectually. That, the day my eyes close for the last time and I die, that will be it. I will not know anything else. So whether my name will be remembered or not, of course, I intellectually understand that. The future means nothing to me. I get that. But if you're going to tell me that I can forget those things now while I'm alive, then no, I can't do that, It's ego, of course, it's 100% pure ego, but I like the idea that sometime down there, somebody would pick up one of our prints, one of our books, and say, those guys did it right, and that was really cool what they did back there. And I know it doesn't matter. Intellectually, I know it doesn't matter. But, whatever. Brains are what they are. Ego is what it is. Sorry about that, Of course, on the face of it, we're okay. Why am I doing this today? Because I enjoy doing it. That's okay. I'm not doing this today because of my legacy. It's fun to do, and practical, and I got to eat and all that stuff. But absolutely, the other part is there. I can't deny that. To speak about carvers then in the future, there's not just a hall of fame, there's a hall of shame, I know I didn't prepare this because I didn't know that's where the conversation was going to go on, but I've got a book at home on my shelf in Ome talking about printmaking. This was about European printmaking. The guy who wrote this book, his name was Bivens, and I think he was one of the curators at was it the Metropolitan Museum of Art or something like this, or the New York Public Library or somewhere back there. I don't know. He's long, long, long dead. This is an old book. His name was Bivens, and he was describing a lot of factors about prints, and he's talking about European prints. And one of the chapters talks about the old German carvers who were carving the old books. This is like before Gutenberg's time, stuff like this. And I can't get the German pronunciation here. The name of the old German woodcutters, Formschneider, something like this. The word, when we read it in English, it says Formschneider, shape cutter, or something like this. And those guys were doing the same thing. They were reproducing work. Somebody drew it or draw it on the block or drew it on paper that was pasted or whatever, and it went to the cutter, cut this. And there's the same kind of story that I just talked to you a few minutes ago with the Japanese guys. How much of it was free for him to create and how much of it he was supposed to just copy exactly without changing it, because his job was simply the block maker, not the artist. And Bivens showed in this book of his, he shows a hilarious example of, and for him it's an insult. These guys had no artistic ability. They're just robots. There's no human, blah, blah. He's really looking down on these people. They were super skillful. They could cut like all kinds of stuff. But Bivens he's not on their side. So, and as his worst case example, he shows a place where a cutter has cut this block, and he has cut little things, a little face, a little gargoyle, a little part of a building, and he's cut the text that says, I don't remember the exact words, but it was text that was instructions to the cutter, like, don't do this part or something, or please leave this off or whatever. And he's carved P-L-E-A-S-E, please leave this off. He's carved these instructions into his block. And when you print the book or the finished print, there's those cutter's instructions there. So the carver he's turned his brain off, absolutely turned his brain off, and he has cut the black and white stuff that appeared in front of him on that wood block. And to Bivens, this is it. Here's an example. This proves my point. These men were just robots. They brought nothing to the table, blah, 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 blah. Just laughing at this guy. If I try and remember next time at all, maybe we can look it up. Or maybe the book's online. It's probably in Google something. I don't even know what the book's called. Look for a book by somebody called Bivens, some museum in America, and it's about printmaking in Europe in the 15th, 16th centuries. It's probably online. Yeah, there's the spelling, Formschneider. I don't know the pronunciation. Ask my brother, he lives in Germany, he could do that, so, Can I turn off the outside mic? Is it too much? Testing, 1, 2, 3. Too much drill noise or something. Show? Hey. I don't know what they're doing. It may be part of the construction for the new Uniqlo store, or it sounds a bit closer than that. I don't know. Actually, that is a real interesting book. I shouldn't diss the guy. That book is actually hugely interesting and full of wonderful information and full of great research. And just on that one particular point, I'm sort of, why did he have this viewpoint so much against these carvers? Because I'm a carver, cutter, whatever. He calls them cutters. But the book is really, really a good book. I'm sorry not to remember the exact title and stuff. It's out there somewhere. We have actually, a nice little library here at Mokuhankan. Not that I have time to read these things anymore, but we have quite a nice library here about our field, about wood cutting, wood carving, printmaking. I haven't added to it much in the past couple of years because we've been busy with other things, but we do have a real nice little library here. Oh, there was something. I remember now what's on my list of things to ask you. I remember. There is something. It's a bit, iffy to talk about because it sounds like sort of sales promotion or something. But we've, over the weekend, I made a massive change on the website. It's in preparation for something we're planning for next week. We're planning one of those, mass mailings, talking to people about what we've been doing and updating and stuff like that. And in preparation for that, there was a major update to our website over the weekend. We've struggled with this. We've got in our shop, we've got new prints that we make ourselves, we publish ourselves. And then we've got the antique corner. We've been calling it our flea market. I'm probably going to change the name because it sounds a bit too junky. But we've got the antique prints that we source from different places here in Japan. And up to now, we've had problem putting those in the shopping cart because we only have, usually one of each of those prints. So if you put it in a shopping cart and then, I go to bed or something, during the night somebody clicks it into their shopping cart, they go to PayPal, they buy it, and that's okay. But the problem is because there's only one, when more than one person does that, we've sold it twice, and you can't do that sort of thing. So up to now, the flea market section of our shop and website has worked a different way. You just send a letter, and Cameron responds and says, yeah, it's still here. We've double checked it. It's okay if you want it. And he sends an invoice. And it's a huge amount of paperwork, manually making invoices, sending them letters back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. So finally, over the weekend, I rewrote the shopping cart in a way that it double checks. It checks that the thing is in inventory, puts it into the shopping cart. People can buy it, and it instantly takes it out of inventory. So it feeds back and goes around and around instantly. So the long story short is, as of yesterday, all of our antique prints, the flea market section, is now in our regular online shopping cart. And one of the reasons I did this is because we're coming up to a sort of crisis in the next few months here at Mokuhankan now, in that we are getting completely sold out of nearly everything that we make. The Great Wave, as you know, is already on waiting list for nearly infinite status now, and this year's subscription series is, and over the next few days I will be turning off the Japan Journey series and the Woodblock Pilgrimage series because we are now sold out. We've taken too many reservations beyond our capability to make the prints, and knowing that there's going to be a boom coming in October, November for Christmas shopping, we're now having to shut this all down because we don't have enough prints. We've oversold our capacity to make prints. The girls upstairs are outside printers. We're done. So over the next few months now, myself and a couple of the staff members are going to be making a bit of a shift. We are going to be waking up the older section, the flea market section, because we can buy more of those. We can't make more prints than we're making right now, but we can certainly buy more. So we are going to refresh and wake up and rejuvenate the antique part of our operation. It's good news, I guess, being sold out of stuff, but it's frustrating. You know, people go to the videos, they come to the website, it's not available. This is what success looks like. So yesterday, three of us, Watanabe-san, Yamada-san, and myself, we spent the whole day yesterday dumping new prints into the flea market section. So if you go over there and look at it now, you'll see lots and lots and lots of new stuff. But there was a way. So to follow the story, because we don't know about the timing, suppose we put a message up saying, here, this stuff is available tonight. We send the message out to our fans. Someone gets the thing, he looks at the item, puts it in his shopping cart. But during the time that it takes him to look around shopping cart, do 3 more, go to PayPal, it's 5, 10, 15 minutes has passed. So the awkward part that I had to build over the past few days is I built a timer system. So when somebody puts one of these items from the flea market into the shopping cart, it sets a timer. And at the moment, the timer is set for 20 minutes. And during that 20-minute period, nobody else can put the same item into their shopping cart. If the first person does go through and actually finish the purchase, then the item is gone. But if he doesn't go through, after 20 minutes, the timer ticks off for that thing, and anybody else is then free to put it in her shopping cart. And this was complex to build. So this all happened over the weekend, and it's been sort of tested, but maybe it's about to get another test. I hope so. This is what I did while I should have been carving over the weekend, but whatever. Depending on the angle, I guess you can see them, eh? Look, there's that group. Yeah, there they are, bit by bit by bit. Well, custom software like Shopify, it doesn't come even close to having what we need. Not even close, not even remote. Of course, I could save time by using custom software. This one is by using package software. This one is so customized. Orders did come in last night, for example, using this new flea market software. And they were processed last night. They came through, they turned off the catalog, they went to PayPal. The IPN came from PayPal. Our software processed it. The journaling was done. The invoices were physically written and prepared, ready in our OME. And on the workbench in OME, our shipping center, right now as I speak, are the invoices and shipping lists for that stuff that people did the shopping for overnight. No human intervention. The journaling and bookkeeping is finished. When we close our books at the end of the year, those payments and things are already cleared, already done. There's no way Shopify's software can get to that level. So we've taken some time to build this thing, but it has totally, absolutely automated and double-checked all this work. So while I was sleeping last night, people bought a bunch of those prints. And as I said, the paperwork is already done. All OME has to do now is simply put the prints into the physical package and send them. And at the moment they do, and I'll be doing some of them here because the flea market prints are here, we put it into the package, we've got a label that goes on the front, we beep it, and at that moment it goes into our system, and Cameron at his end sees. He saw the order come, he saw this happen, he just sits there and he sees these things, and it's all clear and clean. And there's no way a package software is going to do that level of stuff. Plus, it's a ton of fun for me to do this. So. The other part of it too is the creation end, putting the stuff in. I said yesterday that Yamada-san, Watanabe-san and I, we put another 100 prints or so into the flea market, and it was an assembly line at our end. We've got the photographs. Watanabe-san had the photographs already in her computer, and we have our own custom CMS. So she goes to the page in our manager system that says add item to the flea market, and she does this, puts the data in, clicks the button, bango, and our software took her image that she's prepared, and it prepared thumbnails, prepared minis, prepared all the different sizes for the website automatically. So we're not making any web pages here. This is all done automatically by our system. You know. What is going on out there today? What day is it today? It's Saturday. It's coming, the noise is coming from down the street towards Donkey behind. So my guess is it's the construction on the new Uniqlo. It's a massive place. They've taken a few floors of the old Marugoto Nippon. Yeah, it's coming from down the street where all that new shop is going to be opening. So. Different conversations happening here? Not sure. Well, I turned off the outside mic. Somebody mentioned this, just from what you can hear. There's tons of noise outside. That's outside. So we'll leave that off. どうもおはようございます。いいですか。申し訳ないんですけど、場所ないですね。そう。めちゃくちゃ広くなったんですね。ありがとうございました。もう Not sure what's in there. I think it's from one of our printers. You saw the 4-pack of Guinness. Is it the same? Are they selling the same thing in other countries? I still haven't. Oh, it's here. I still haven't cleaned it up. It's still here. I keep meaning to take it upstairs. It's this little 4. Actually, the 2 of them are now gone. Don't quite know where they went, but this is the way it goes. There's 3 cans and the glass. Is it overseas as well? Wow, maybe so somebody over there, whatever, they got snowed in with this stuff. Boy, oh boy, sorry about that. Are they finished now? Peace for a few minutes. The other noise, some of you, if you've been listening to this stream for a few years, you may know now, you may recognize there's another new sound out there. It's the yearly air conditioner sound from the Rocks building. It has started up a few days ago, and it's running right now. There's the hum in the background. If I put the outside up, there's a sound. That's the air conditioner from the department store, 3 or 4 blocks away. And you sort of don't notice it until it's gone. Then you hear really quiet, and then comes up. And all night long it does this. Now we're quiet. This is as quiet as it gets. And then you'll hear 3 or 4 minutes from now, as the thermostat clicks over, it'll go. And there's nothing we can do about it. The whole district gets this sound. It's from the department store up on the roof, like the 6th, 7th, 8th floor. And there's a special room inside where they do their cooling and heating. And it's got a grill, so you can't see it. But the sound broadcasts around the whole district. And there's nothing we can do about this. The laptop fans are also running, of course. This is the laptop fan. We'll get there. Next time I get a Mac, the fan will be gone. Why is it so loud? I don't know. I mean, it's an industrial air conditioning unit. It starts on May the 10th every year. It seems to be set by the calendar rather than the temperature. It starts on May the 10th and it shuts down sometime in November. And if I lived a little bit closer, I would be ready to get the pitchforks ready and go fight. But, whatever, it's 3, 4 blocks away from here. And I just don't have the energy to start petitioning and going to City Hall and making trouble and all that kind of stuff. Because nobody else is even noticing it. I asked some of the employees about it a while ago, and a couple of years ago when this first started, I'm like, I can't bear that noise. And they're like, what noise? And they said, come with me. We went outside. I can hear this thing, and yet there's the traffic back and forth and back and forth. And nobody else, like, sort of, whatever, Dave, this is Tokyo, you know. But at 1 o'clock in the morning, when all the traffic is down, that thing just runs all night long. Anyway, don't get grumpy. Sparrows are there, yeah, chirping, chirping. They're really strong this year. They're really, really strong this year. Some of them have nested up on our third floor. They've nested under the roofs on our third floor to get protected from the crows. Oh, Taran, e-book, 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 e-book. Research, research. John is off today working. He's doing some real work. John sent us a note just before the stream started saying he's got a job today. He will be happy to hear that someone has asked about him. Wow, that's cool. Thank you very much. I've known John for, I don't know how many years. He will remember better than I do. It's 20 plus, something like that. He followed my work back when I was doing the Surimono albums. He used to watch the rudimentary stream web camera thing I had in Ome back in the late 1990s. John came to visit once. He's been a fan of Japan for a long, long time. He came to visit me in Ome there once. When he comes to Japan, it's not just Mokuhankan he's interested in. He's got lots of interests here. He travels all over the country, chasing down a bunch of his different interests. I shouldn't talk too much about whatever somebody else's business, but yeah. He's quite the fan. He's been a steady supporter for many, many, many years. We're supposed to be giving notice when we miss streams. John's a mod. He's an official mod. I know. When did we start, you guys? There's two more of the mods here. When did we start? Half a year ago or so? These people, the three of them there, John and Karen and Alice, said, Dave, let's get this mod thing worked out. So John wasn't just being sarcastic. He said, like, I can't work for you this morning. I'm going to other work. So please, don't everybody start sending me mails when you can't join the stream today. Everybody has to send in an excuse note to the teacher when they can't come to the stream. Please, no, thank you, no. How's our time? We're okay? Nearly 9. Okay, no problem. Do 15 more minutes of this, and then we've got our show and tell. Today's show and tell is a quiet one. I know it's interesting. I think it's actually really, really interesting. And but it's a quiet one. It's not some dramatic, oh my God. It's not of interest to most people. And actually the content itself, actually too, is not so much of interest to me. But the object that we're going to look at is hugely interesting to me. To think that people actually did this and made those things. And oh my God. What human beings are capable of doing. And how it's valued by other people and stuff like that. So it's a really, really interesting thing we're going to look at today. There's a little bit, the downside of it is that I'm going to be able to explain X% of it to you, but there's X% that I'm not going to be able to fully explain, and that's the usual case, And when I saw this last week and I picked it up, I thought, I can't believe that I'm going to be able to own an object like this for that small amount of money, and like whatever. measure your life, the passage of your life in this. Like this is what, 2 square centimeters? I've spent 40 minutes on this, you know. Measure the passing of your life by the area that's been done, you know. New York Chicken, I haven't seen her. I know we're locked down. So the yatai, the street trucks are all closed. There's no street trucks in Tokyo at the moment. The lockdown has put them out of business temporarily. Whatever, how many will come back, I don't know. So she can't. She's not allowed to run her business right now. So. When did I stop shaving? You know, I don't remember actually. When I was at the music store. I don't 100% remember. I think it was when I left the music store. That would be 1985, but I really don't know. It could have been a few years before that. I don't remember. Early, mid 1980s, I think. I know I am not a great beard man. I know I fail. You know, it doesn't get any longer. I don't trim it or cut it or do anything with it. And it just doesn't actually get any longer. The bits fall out. It's like the normal hair. The bits fall out as it grows. So it is what it is, you know. It's a mess. I fully recognize it's a mess. But just the idea of getting up in the morning and shaving, just the idea, just. Wow. So once I left normal employment, once I left the music store, that was that. Just, I'm not going to do that every morning. It's laziness maybe, or X% laziness, X% the feeling of, look, this is what my body sort of wants to do. Why fight this? Some percentage of it is that, you know. The feeling that, look, this is a natural thing that happens to a man's face. Why are we fighting this? Why are we doing this routine every morning where we chop this hair off? So that's the mood I think I got into years ago. And you could make the same argument about your normal hair. Okay, if that's what your body wants to do, why not let it go? Why do you keep chopping it back? You know, the same. I realize I'm being inconsistent here. But that one, if you don't cut this back, you get that you can't actually function in society anymore. So, you know. What did people do in like prehistoric times before we invented scissors and stuff? Like when human beings were still, you know, animals. Fur grows, and with animals, fur grows and it stops growing. I don't know. What was this all about? What happened with human beings before we had scissors? Was everybody a total shaggy dog and they couldn't see past their nose? I never thought about that before, you know. Why does so much hair grow on the top of our head? What's the purpose of it? What's it there for? I get that there's some there to keep us warm. That sort of makes sense. I get it. It's like a natural hat. Keeps your brain temperature warm during the winter. I get it. But why does it grow infinitely? And how on earth could people have handled it before they had technology to cut it? Some of these hairs are thin, you know. This is delicate work down in here, down in the trenches here. This is delicate. When humans started wearing clothes, most of the body hair migrated to the scalp. Is that how it works? I don't know. No idea. No idea. Oh, I see. Yeah, flint knives. Okay, I guess so. But again, going back before then, when we were actually just animals, before we had any tools or humanity or whatever. Or even these days, people in whatever those people that live in the deepest jungle of Amazon and stuff that don't want to be touched or whatever. How do they handle their hair? I never ever thought about this. I don't know. I am so overdue though. Next time I get out to Ome. Time is okay. I know. Okay, where to? Just go wander around this landscape. I finish one batch of hair, wander across the landscape to another batch. The air conditioner. What note is it? No perfect pitch here. I can't tell you what it is. No idea. What's the note? I don't know. Is it an A? Think of a tuning fork. Boom. It could sound like an A, you know, I don't know. I don't know. The Asakusa Orchestra gets ready to play. The air conditioner plays its A. The rest of the orchestra tunes in. Very short cycle, that one. What time are we? Okay, S&T. Goodbye, Mr. Tiger. See you tomorrow. Or not. Okay. That should be enough space. What we've got here today, as I said, this is going to be a quiet one today. Jeez, look at this hair. I have got to get rid of some of this stuff. Anyway, whatever. Black van. This is it's a taxi van. Sure, it's a taxi for the hotel. I believe it's a taxi. This is Yahoo Auction Goods. We picked this up last week. It came up for auction. I thought, oh, that's nice. I was worried somebody else might bid, how much it would go. And as is the same story, I tell you the same story dozens and dozens and dozens of times, nobody else bid for it. Nobody else bid on it. So it went for opening price. The person had been asking 3,000 yen. Here's the original auction listing. What it is, it's a pair of books. We have two books here. They are bound together into a very nice little cover. And I can read some of this, but not all of this. The first character here is koto, as in the musical instrument. We then have kyoku, as in song, piece of music. And then we have hana, ka, something I can't read, and mi. And I'm quite possibly wrong on this, but it could be this is ataji for something, ga. So this is hana kagami, a mirror of the flowers of the world of koto songs. But don't quote me on that because I can't read that one. I'm just guessing what they are. So let's open this up. Put this away so I don't. This is a bit delicate. This has been opened and closed and opened and closed and opened and closed quite a number of times over the bajillion years. So let's put that away for a minute and look at the books themselves. And same thing, it's 2 volumes, and it's the same book, just in 2 parts. It's the same title on the front here, and we can see the index to what's inside here. And if I put it this way up, this is the Japanese alphabet. Where are we? A, I, U. It's a subset of the Japanese alphabet. They are not all here. It's not A, I, U, E, O, Ka, Ki, Ku, Ke, Ko. A, I, U, Ni, Ta, Ka, Ki, Ku, Ke, Ko. Sa, Shi, Su, Se, So. Let me reserve judgment on what those 2 are. It is most of the Japanese alphabet. Ta, Chi, Tsu, Te, To, Nani, Nu, Ne, No. And these are page numbers for what's inside. So it's a book, a collection of something, and here's the rough alphabet. If you're looking for something, it starts with the letter sa, then you will look here on page 69. So be it, so what that is. Let's just take a quick look inside, just to show you what the rough contents are. Just opening it at random here. We have the words, the lyrics, to traditional Japanese music played on traditional Japanese instruments. This first one I opened it randomly is kagura. We'll talk about this in a minute. And this is, as far as I can understand, this is the actual words. There's nothing that tells you here that it's, this is simply the lyrics. It's like a lyric sheet. We get the same thing in a karaoke house here in Japan. Wherever you are, the lines and lyrics show on the screen. It doesn't tell you the music. You got to know that it's happening somewhere else. This is a lyric book. And the deal about this, the reason I bought this and the reason I'm sort of showing it to you today is, you know what I'm going to say. There's the vegetable man. Yasai no maru yasu, the vegetable. This is all hand carved and hand printed. Every character of every line of every page of everything you're looking at today here was carved by hand. So what you saw me doing today here, what you saw me sitting there and doing and chatting with you while I was doing it, fooling around for a few minutes, this is how books were made back in the old days. If you look at the sheet like this, we can open it up. The binding works the same as all the old Japanese books. This is one sheet of paper. This is not one sheet of paper. That's a separate sheet of paper. These are one sheet of paper printed on one side in this shape and folded and bound. Now that's kind of cool, but so what, Dave? Why did you buy this? Because it also has, let's go to page 1 here. When we open this book, look inside. There's a flowery, poetic introduction, also done, of course, with woodblock printing. And there is also kuchie. There are 4 kuchie in this thing. After the introductory poetry section, we have some woodblock prints. And there's 4 prints, 2 in each volume. They're double spread, and they show exactly the kind of ladies who would have bought this book, the ladies that needed to know the text of these songs. This is how the upper half lived in those days. Sort of still does. You will find a rich Japanese lady who wants to be traditional, and she will have in her home a tatami room with screens and koto lessons for her daughter. This still goes on, of course. It's nowhere near as widespread as it was in the old days. But this is how the upper half lived. And this, of course, this too is a woodblock print. This looks like the daughter of the house getting her koto lesson. What year is this? It's in the back of the book. It's Meiji 29. Meiji 29. I should have showed you that first. I'm sorry. Meiji 29. So what somebody said, they got lazy on the left hand. I don't know how much of this is realistic. Whatever it is. So we need John. John's gone. John, where are you? We need you. Meiji 29. These are not, I was going to say descending geese. Those are not the geese, but yes, if you want to look at that as descending geese, that's fine. 1896. So imagine these two people. There's the ladies in these houses who would have bought this little dictionary of koto songs. This is another snapshot from their life. Mrs. Lady visits two other ladies. This is, looks like picnic time somewhere. The life, the money and the servants that were required to run this kind of life, just and the formality and the rules and the words you can use and the words you can't use. The life these people lived was just, for me, this would be, if I'm a bad boy while I'm alive and I go to hell or something, then when I wake up in hell on the first day, I will be living in a world like this, where everything is structured and set, and you must say this, and your fingers have to be crossed a certain way, and your feet have to be placed a certain way. This, for me, is the very definition of anti-life, And these people did it because they wanted to do it, my God. I guess whatever, people still live the same way. No idea. So volume 1, as I said, has these two pictures at the front, and then it goes on. I did mention partway something else about this. Here's each book has an index before it gets to the meat, and the index is alphabetical order, and there's some notations underneath it. And this one says Mikudari, 3 down. And when I saw this, I was first confused. Mikudari. When you read about Japanese history, you read about this thing that apparently used to exist called Mikudari Han. There's no connection with what we're looking at today, but it's the same words. Mikudari Han was 3.5 lines. And apparently, it's a thing, but whether it really existed, I don't know. Any male of any status, if he decided that this woman was not the person he wanted to be with, he wrote 3.5 lines of a certain text, passed it to her, and you're gone. And this was the forced divorce, Mikudari Han. I don't know if they really did that, but if you look this up at Wikipedia or something, you will see this. There was a forced divorce that the guy can say, I don't want you to be my partner anymore. I don't know. But so when I saw this koto book, I'm like, Mikudari. It can't be the same thing. And it's not the same thing. This is tuning instructions. The book here is not just for koto players. It's a book of lyrics for songs that were played on the koto and or are together with the shamisen. And what we are looking at here are tuning instructions. And this one says ni agari. And you can look this up on YouTube. People are showing you how to do this. You get your shamisen with the 3 strings, dun, 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 and there's a normal tuning. And there's like we have this in guitar work, right? You've got your E string, you can dial it down to be a D. The D tuning on guitar, it's called. This is the same thing. Ni agari means you take your 2nd string and you turn it up one semitone or 1 tone. So this one, it's number 2 up. You take your 2nd string, you put it up. Here's the 3rd one. You take your 3rd string, you go down. This is the standard tuning. It's called a hon something. I forget the pronunciation. Can't read the kanji. So these are songs, and they're categorized by what sort of tuning they use. So this is a reference book to a group of ladies who are sitting there and jamming with their koto and their shamisen. Let's look at book 2 here. What have we got here? What's happening here today? Oh, tea ceremony. Flower arranging. It's tea and flowers. Come over to my house for some tea and flowers. This is the lady of the house. She looks a bit older. Some of the guests are younger ladies. Come on over to my house for tea and flowers. And she does some flower arranging for them. She has chosen the scroll for the background. It was very, very formula, ritualistic kind of life. And before they got dressed to come over today, they would carefully choose their kimono. It was a spectacular thing, as I said, it's not me, and I couldn't imagine living like this. But the productions that these people left behind, even in the sense of this book could only exist because these ladies were willing to go to the bookstore and fork over a good price for it. So a book like this can come to exist. This is not geisha. These are nothing to do with geisha. These are upper class ladies in every sense. These are rich people in their home. These are ladies. There's nothing to do with geisha here at all. And the fourth, as I said, there's 2 frontispieces for each book, and this is the 4th one. And this is an illustration of ladies with poem cards. And they are having some kind of get-together. They are reading poetry, studying poetry. And this lady has got her ink, stone, and brushes ready with a blank poem card, and she is about to create a poem. This is Meiji-era stuff. As I said, what did the year come up as? 1890 something? I didn't notice when it went by earlier. Meiji 29, this is 1890 something. Not all that old. And a book like this, as I said, I picked it up, the 2 volumes, for 3,000 yen. And nobody else was interested. Nobody else bid on it. This is not the greatest art, it's close. It's pretty small scale. It's pretty small scale. But yeah, this is from that era when the new factory colors are flooding into Japan. This is not the traditional colorants. These are chemical colorations, chemical pigments being used. This is the era when this was a big deal. Oh my God, these wonderful new fabulous colors. To us today, it does not look all that attractive, but to them in that day, this was new and interesting and creative. And such colorants were being used for making kimono themselves, of course, and of course for making things like this, pictures of kimono. It didn't last long, but for a certain period there, 10, 20, 30 years, whatever, use of those colors became really a thing. So, okay, there you have it. Let's go one last, the colophon at the back. Here's the book at the back. And we can see here, this is Meiji 29, published in the 9th month, the 9th day, September the 9th of 1929. This is fun too. I don't quite know why they would do that. When we look at a copyright notice today in our books, do we have copyright notices that have the actual day? I'm thinking that I don't remember ever seeing such a thing. For us, copyright seems to be something that is licensed and controlled year on year. And every year on January 1st, we have this situation where stuff that was in copyright but is now expired, on January 1st, it becomes open for public domain. But all the old copyright notices from these books back in this era, they all have the exact day of publication. And this too, this is the insatsu, this is the printing date, and this is the excuse me, this is the hakko, this is the date of marketing, the date it's sold. So they had the two dates are always listed side by side. The date of physical production, which again for a book like this is not going to be one day. I guess it's the day maybe the censor passed it or something like that. I don't know. And this is the copyright notice, Hanken Ari. They are preserving their copyright on this. So at this time now in late Meiji, there's the beginning of a legal structure for copyrights. Okay, there we have it. It's not a spectacular thing. For me, mostly the interest comes in just knowing that men made these sorts of things, that carving every line and every dot of every page of this thing. And how long would this take you to make? How long would it take me to make? It's another example of the speed that those guys, they must have just crunched it My God, they must have just crunched it. If they could see me doing what I'm doing now, they would just face palm. He thinks he's a woodblock carver. Hey, Joe, look at this. He thinks he's a woodblock carver. So they would just face palm. It's okay, whatever. Things are what they are. I got my own set of skills. They had their set of skills. We're fine. We're good to go. Okay, good. Thanks for this today, 90 minutes. I got some work done today, a little bit. We got a few things done. I will enjoy reading the chat when I have my lunch. A couple of times the last few weeks, I haven't been able to actually get through it, but I think today is going to be a quiet day here. I will read the chat with my lunch. Thanks for participating. How many carvers? It would have been a team. This is a workshop. In fact, you can see, sorry to distract here, you can see page by page where Mr. A and Mr. B, and there's lots of, I should have maybe, here, we can see one right there. We can see one right here. This is Mr. A and Mr. B, working from the same basic original. This one is lighter and more delicate. This one is clunkier. Can you see it? I don't know if you can see it. Taran-san is just watching. He's just exactly, of course, this is Mr. A and Mr. B. And the easy, quick guess is a guy with quick fluidity and maybe a younger guy who is just learning this. I don't know. I can't tell you that. Or an older guy who can't see it anymore. Who knows? But absolutely, there are multiple hands visible in this thing. If you wanted to really get crazy about it, you could scan each page and do an AI and figure out there are 7 different hands here. I don't know. Of course, nobody's ever going to do that. But yes, this is the job of a workshop, a bunch of people working together. Absolutely, absolutely. Okay, there we are. Thanks so much. This time I am getting out of here. It's Saturday morning. I will see you 2 more days, Monday morning. The vaccine thing, it has changed. There has been a storm of protest about this. Half the country is up in arms. The news reports, some of these Mondays, that it's not just my city has been doing this, some of these Mondays, they have nearly crashed the national telephone system. NTT last Monday and the Monday before had to close off the numbers for those call centers because it was clogging the national telephone system. I am not making this up. What they've done now, over the past week, things have changed. They have called in the army. The government has called in the defense ministry, and these guys are stepping in to show you how to do logistics. The Japanese military, they can do logistics. The current Japanese military has the huge respect of the country. Their disasters, floods, fires, all that stuff, they are in there. And they are now, as we speak, they are setting up a mass vaccination center down near the main central government buildings. And they've been given the mandate to do this. So take it away from the little local clinics who want 6 nurses standing by while one little lady gets her shot. The army is taking over. I can't believe I actually said this, but it's true. Read it, Google this. You look at the stories in the Japan Times. The military is now stepping in, and we'll see how this goes. So the current system is still there. On Monday, I will be making my attempt to make a reservation in my system in Ome. But what they're doing is, instead of doing it for this week's 400 doses, next Monday's reservation is different. They're going to just keep taking reservations beyond the number of doses they have. In other words, we don't have to start from 0 every Monday. They're going to just take the names for as long as their computer disk survives or whatever. I don't even know. So I will get my name into the system on Monday. It may be months before my name comes up, but instead of starting on a lottery every Monday. Anyway, I meant to mention this during the stream. That's one of the things I meant to chat about, sorry, but I forgot about it till just now. So we'll see. So Monday morning will be one of these lottery streams. What will happen, I have no idea. Okay. I am out of here. Thank you very much. I'm out of here. I'll see you 2 days from now on Monday morning. And we have some sunshine out there. That lady had an umbrella, not for the rain, for the sun. It may be time to take a walk here before the rain gets back here. Look at that. Look at this. I am going to get out of here for a while. Thanks for watching, guys. See you on Monday morning. Bye for now.